So there was supposed to be two games that I was going to review tonight, but unfortunately, when I woke up this morning, I found out that the Rapids versus Sounders game was canceled because of very bad snow and also very windy condition. And when I mean very windy condition, I'm talking about 50 to 65 per hour wind that happened in today's weather in Denver. And we already knew that from that snow classico in the opening weekend between the Rapids and the Timbers of how players really hated playing in that kind of condition. So I can't imagine how they would feel not only to play in that condition again, but also in an absolute windstorm that is. So yeah, I feel the league, they made the right call of delaying this game and postponing this game to another day. And I know people will say, well, I kind of want to see another Snow Classico because it's fun to watch on TV, which, yes, it is true to watch a Snow Classico fun on TV, but in terms of actually watching it in the stadium and also the players playing it, yeah, nobody wants to play in those kind of condition. And another thing that kind of also was the reason why the game was postponed was because of safety issue. Like, playing in the snow is already very hectic and can increase the chances of players getting injured. So imagine playing in the snow and also in the wind. Yes, and since this is also a midweek game and since both teams have only 3-day rest, that just even increased the injury kind of concern for both team and the most likelihood of the fact that there's going to be an injury in this game much higher than if both of these team have actually a week of rest. But that being said, let's actually talk about the only game that happened this week. And also in this video, I will be combining the news of the week video into this video too. Originally, I was going to combine the news of the week talking about these two games because there's only two games to review and now just one game to review. So might as well just add into the news of the week too so that I don't have to make two separate videos. So with that being said, let's talk about the only game that happened this midweek. And unfortunately, the only game that happened this midweek was not a very good game to watch. It was a 0-0 game between DC United versus Montreal. So for the second week in a row, Montreal is able to go on the road and earn a 0-0 draw. And really, when I say this game was boring, it was. Like, both teams only had one shot on goal. The final shot total were Montreal with 11 shots compared to 7 that DC had. One shot on goal for Montreal compared to 0 that DC had. Both teams had 5 shots off target. 5 shots was blocked compared to 2 that DC had. DC did have a little bit more possession with 53% to 47%. But it's obvious that, this was not a fun game to watch. And I guess this is what happened when you have two teams that is missing two of the biggest star player on this team and the two players that is supposed to hold the glue of this team with DC United. Obviously, Wayne Rooney not playing in this game because he got the red card against LAFC. And also Nacho Piatti still out with an injury and he probably would be out for another couple of weeks. Yeah, it looked like this was going to be one of those games that not much is going to happen. And, for DC United, I think this result is got to be a little bit more concerning than in terms of a Montreal impact perspective because for DC, it's clear that without Rooney, this team looked like a team that was in the first half of the season where they have no threat whatsoever. And if that is the case, if Wayne Rooney does get injured down the line, which is very likely because remember he has had some injury issue in the past and if they do not have him then this DC team just doesn't look like they can operate. Like, it just feels like going forward in this game they just had no idea how to attack whatsoever. And for Montreal, yes, these last two games has been very ugly and these last two games doesn't really give you a lot of confidence that without Piatti, this team can actually do something. But, when you're on the road for so long, that is Montreal now 5 games into the row, and that they finally get a home game heading into the next match week for the first time ever, it is a good result. I mean, it is a good result to able to get some points on the road, and now heading into the home opener, they can definitely carry these kind of momentum that and the amount of points that they have won on the road. And hopefully, when they have that home opener on Saturday, Piatti would be at least he could be on the bench and maybe start for this game. Although, like I said, he's been out for the last couple of weeks, and there's rumors saying that he could be out for another 1 or 2 weeks before he can be playing with Montreal again. So, yeah, there you have it in terms of the only games that has happened. I know it was a really boring game and there wasn't really much to talk about. But that being said, let's switch the board now and do the news of the week. So, news of the week, and obviously the biggest news coming out of this week is Arjen Robben. Report that he is going to be leaving Bayern Munich and he is going to be coming to MLS, with TFC report to help exploratory talks with him. Now, Robben, he's already said that he is set to leave Bayern Munich, and originally they said that he was going to move to Inter Milan, but he just said that he is not going to Inter Milan, and instead he is going to come to MLS. And I know this is going to feel a lot of MLS hater and Euro snobs saying that, look at that, MLS is still doing their old MLS 1.0 approach, which is signing some age-old European star just to come to MLS to retire. And this move kind of is very similar to that, because Arjen Robben is roughly about 35 years old, and he is definitely winding down his career. And it's interesting that TFC is report to get him. I mean, it's not a bad move to get Arjen Robben. He is considered one of the best winger, if not the best winger right now in the world, even at an age of 35 years old, and probably is one of the best winger to ever play in that position. But the problem I have with, Robben coming into the league, and whichever team decide to keep him, is that you are expected to have some times of the season where he is not going to be match fit. He has suffered a lot of injury throughout the last couple of years when he was with Bayern Munich, and this year they said that he's only dressed 6 times and started with Bayern only 6 times this season. So, yeah, whoever is going to get him, and if TFC is going to get him, they're going to have to notice that, yes, you're going to get a good, talented player in the wing, a guy that has tons of pace and also can basically cut inside with his deadly kind of left foot. Pretty much a signature move of Arjen Robben and what he's been doing throughout his career. But also know that you are going to definitely deal with him spending more time on the IR than he is actually playing on the field. But next up is something that I kind of talked about in yesterday's video, which is Remi Garde deny any reports of him returning to Lyon as a coach. Now, as I said yesterday, I included him in terms of the 10 coaches that I think is going to get fired or are going to leave the team that he is with right now before the end of the season. And the only reason why I put him there is because since there's been a lot of report of him going back to France, and I know Remi Garde, he's openly said that he is denying any reports of that. We've seen before where coaches and players deny reports, and it turns out those reports were actually true and that the transaction actually went ahead. So don't be surprised if Remi Garde does leave, even though recently he has denied all report and that he is staying with Montreal. Now, that's not to scare any Montreal fans and saying that, yeah, their coaches is definitely going to leave. It's just that, there's been a lot of reports on that, and that don't be surprised that he is going to leave with this team with all this report, even though he's denying all these reports and saying that he's coming back to Lyon as a coach. But next up, the Galaxy. Their GM, Dennis Ticlosa, just confirmed that they want to sign Costa Rican international Giancarlo Gonzales, who is currently playing with Bologna in Serie A. And I have also heard that there's been numerous reports that the Galaxy have already signed Giancarlo Gonzales and that he is about to be heading to the Galaxy and about to train the team. And this is certainly a move that, the Galaxy, they are just throwing all sorts of money in terms of getting defenders, because it's clear that the defense is their biggest problem, and obviously getting Diego Palantes in the offseason certainly hasn't really solved their issue in terms of the back line. But I think when you look at Giancarlo Gonzales, I have heard there's a lot of good things about him. He's one of the best center backs. Well, I wouldn't say one of the best center back, but certainly a center back that has some kind of recognition in Serie A, and I think this is going to be a really big upgrade for the Galaxy in terms of the back line. I mean, the Galaxy right now, they have already looked very scary, mainly because of the attack and the defense kind of stabilized a little bit, although they're still kind of making some silly mistake. With Giancarlo Gonzales, maybe those mistake is not going to happen every single game. So, yeah, again, the Galaxy, they are very close in terms of getting Giancarlo Gonzales, and I assume in a couple of days this news is going to make official. And when this news does make official, I'm not going to report again on News of the Week because I just kind of told you guys that this move is about to happen. No need to really report again if I already kind of made it obvious that it's going to happen. But next up, Diego Rossi is named the player of the week, while Carlos Vela won the player of the month. So, you know, the two LAFC player getting some recognition this week, and it's not a surprise Diego Rossi won player of the week. I mean, I kind of told you guys back in the review, and also he scored a hat-trick, which, you know, when you score a hat-trick in the league, you usually will get player of the week. The only chances where you score a hat-trick and it's not guaranteed that you're going to get player of the week is another guy that score a hat-trick and that maybe his hat-trick is more important, or he maybe add in an assist or two in the hat-trick. And Carlos Vela, yeah, there's not much I need to say more of why Carlos Vela deserved the player of the month. I mean, 8 goals, 5 assists that he had in these past months. That is just absolutely ridiculous kind of number that he is up to now. But yeah, next up, Disco has fined 2 players this week. They fined Sofia Taidia and Ryan for embellishment and simulation, and both of those embellishment are kind of pretty obvious, especially the Sofia Taidia one. I mean, he basically he kind of trying to dive even though there was like no player around him, and he just make it look very silly. And Ryan, you know, you could make a case because he did get his jersey pulled before he kind of went down a little bit too easily. Obviously, a lot of people has been asking why did Nani not get fined this week for the headbutt that he has, and you know, I'm kind of one of those people too, because I'm still surprised. Why did Nani did not get a red card last week? Consider we had a similar situation the previous week when DeMar Krylak got a red card for making the motion of headbutt, which is something similar that Nani did get. And also Krylak did get fined for, well, he didn't get fined for the headbutt, but he got fined for not leaving the field. So why in the world is Nani getting absolutely nothing? Like, he's basically getting away with not only a red card, but any fine. That just shows you how inconsistent in terms of refereeing and Disco is. And it's also one of the reasons why this league is still not getting a lot of recognition. But next up, FC Cincinnati and Inter Miami are showcasing their stadium rendering, and I wish I can basically pull it up for you guys, just like what I did with the Sacramento stadium rendering. But unfortunately, my phone is currently charging. It ran out of battery, so I can't really show you guys, but I will leave a link in the description below in terms of the stadiums of both of these teams. Obviously, it feels like ever since Sacramento show off their stadium, other teams are kind of following that, and it's kind of like, it's almost like a battle right now between all these teams that is getting their new stadium and these teams coming into the league, or are one of the candidate of coming into the league, where they want to showcase their best stadium kind of design. And if there is actually an award for that, yeah. And you know, after seeing both of these stadium, you know, when you look at the Inter Miami stadium, that stadium look absolutely gorgeous, and it's probably one of the most beautiful stadium in MLS, probably right near where Allianz Field is. I mean, Allianz Field still, if you want to ask me which is the best and most beautiful stadium in MLS, hands down, it has to be Allianz Field with the lighting outside, and just it looks absolutely gorgeous. But next up, and well, actually, I was about to say and finally, but there's actually two more news that is going to be talked about for me. Is that the Sacramento City Council has unanimously approved stadium deal, and this should not be a big surprise because the City Council has been backing Sacramento in terms of getting an MLS team, and if you're Don Garber, there's just no more excuses you can make that Sacramento is not ready to go to MLS. I mean, they got a new owner that is a multi-billion-dollar owner, which is something that you tend to like to see with an expansion team. And also they have the fans that is supporting them to come to MLS. And also they now just got the stadium approved, and all they need to do to get that stadium start building is when Sacramento is confirmed the 28th team in MLS. So, yeah, Don Gabbard, please announce it very soon. I mean, I'm not a Sacramento fan, and I'm a Quakes fan, so even if Sacramento come into the league, I might start kind of having a little bit hatred. Although, at the same time, I will also try to go a couple of Sacramento games just to, get some match experience and stuff like that. And I already saw their stadium. It looks absolutely beautiful. But it's also kind of built kind of a rivalry between the Quakes and Sacramento, and it's something that I know the Quakes will always have that rivalry between us and LA Galaxy, but since the Galaxy now they're kind of having a bit of a rivalry with LAFC, and this Cali Clasico thing has started to kind of fade away. We really need a kind of a new rival, and kind of a new regional rival that is much closer to us. Like the closest team that we have right now is the Galaxy and LAFC, which is about 400 miles down. So when Sacramento coming into the league and both teams separated only by 120 miles, yeah, that is going to be a very tasty kind of rivalry. And also I can actually do an away day. 120 mile, 100 mile for me driving to Sacramento is certainly doable. And I have gone to Sacramento a couple of times doing Sports Hop series, so I should have no problem in terms of getting there and heading back home. But finally, the Gold Cup draw has been revealed. So the U.S., of course, is going to be in Group D. They will have Panama, TNT, and Guyana in terms of their group. And when you look at this group, obviously it's not an easy group because, Panama is a team that I think we got them in the last Gold Cup and we only drew 1-1 against them. TNT, yeah, that just gives me PTSD of what happened a couple of months ago and what happened in that October qualifier. And then Guyana, Guyana is probably a team that we are definitely going to get a win. I mean, they're, if you tell me that if we do not get anything but a win, or maybe even a 3 or 4-0 win against Guyana, yeah, something tells me that there's something wrong with this U.S. men's national team. And, when you look at this group, I don't know if it's the group of death. I mean, all three of these teams, certainly Panama and TNT is definitely a definitely team that could definitely challenge the U.S. But at the end of the day, I think the U.S. should win this group comfortably. And if you look at the other group, I think Group C is probably the one that is the toughest because it features Honduras, Jamaica, and also El Salvador, I think, and I forgot what was the fourth team. And Mexico, of course, is in Group A. They have Cuba, Canada, and also I can't really come off the top of my head which is the fourth opponent, but it's probably one of those small island kind of nation that is in the Gold Cup for this. So yeah, again, I think the U.S. should win this group, and obviously the goal for the U.S. is to win the Gold Cup, because if we win this Gold Cup, we are going to be going to the Confederation Cup. We don't have to do a one-game playoff with whoever wins this Gold Cup that is not us, because we already won the Gold Cup last year, and because we won that Gold Cup last year, if we win it again, that means we seal our automatic spot of going to the Confederation Cup, which is something that I the Confederation Cup has definitely lost its recognition and prestige, but it's still a good competition to be in. And the last time the U.S. went to the Confederation Cup, they did very successful, and I think they even went to the final before losing it in the final, or maybe they went into the semifinal before losing in the semifinal, and I think it was Brazil, the team that they lost, or something like that. But yeah, either way, that is pretty much it for the news of the week and also the review of the DC United versus Montreal game. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the news of the week and also that game between DC versus Montreal. Tomorrow, of course, I will be doing the preview of match week number 7, and we're going to be having a 12-game full slate MLS match week number 7 this week. So yeah, it's going to be another long one, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.